Alright, quiet.
Alright guys, let's do this.
Roll sound.
You buy the whiteboard, Lubo?
Yep.
Okay. Speed.
Roll camera. Clean. Salt.
Tenny, take 3.
A little bit about the movie is that it is about one woman, a character, Anna, that I play, and it basically follows a transition in her life where she decides to attempt being a dancer, an erotic dancer, and then she learns from it. It's basically about that experience in her life, which is a big one, kind of a turning point for her. So
my character plays sort of the antagonist in the film, I suppose, with Anna. She plays nice in the beginning of the film, and turns out, you know, she's kind of the queen bee of the dancers, and she turns out to be like a really big bitch to Anna, and kind of lays the foundation for all strippers. I found the film actually very, very realistic to the way it actually is working as a dancer. It was gritty enough, and that's why I actually appreciated the film as much as I did, because there's a lot of things that people don't realize that happen to you when you're dancing, that it actually does happen. So that's why I enjoyed it as much as I did, because it's a struggle. It really is, and I feel like the film touched up on that more than anything else. Instead of looking at dancing as necessarily like a sexual sort of thing, it more touched up on the negative effects that it has on a person.
it was pretty well rehearsed, I have to say, for a film, which I really like. And you know, I went to the club with Annika, and I learned a little bit of how to dance, and I was there when the club was open, and I saw some of the girls working there, and the patrons, and what that environment is like. The crew was great. Everyone was really nice and respectful. It was really interesting to have a crew that was half men, it was mostly like 50-50 men and women. Which is like kind of weird, I don't know. I feel like most of the sets I've been on have been mostly men, and having women there too, it just creates a different dynamic, and it makes things more interesting. Especially because of the nature of the film. I mean, it was just, I think it went as well as it could have. I could sort of see a situation like this, or another film like of this nature, I guess, and there being all sorts of issues with, I don't know, with respect and boundaries, and you know, the two sexes treating each other certain ways, or it being comfortable for everybody, or, I mean, there's probably a lot of things you could run into, and it was pretty smooth, at least for me.
Like the attention that you get from it, like it makes you feel important. It makes you feel like, you know, you matter, forever how long it is, you know, whether it's a 3-minute stage set or it's a 15-minute shoot. Like, you feel like, you know, for those 15 minutes or those 3 minutes, you know, you shine. You're the center of attention, and it's an overall, like, you just feel good about yourself. Like, you feel important. The differences between it, I suppose, dancing, you feel a little objectified, almost, in a sense, because you seem to feel as though people look at you, like I said, as an object instead of a person. You know, I feel like when people sit down and watch a film and they look at the actors and actresses, they truly believe in their character. They relate to them as that character. As a dancer, you know, pretty much people just see you as that. You're a dancer. You're a slut, pretty much. You know, so you're there to please, just to please the men. So I don't know. I suppose acting is a more positive way of getting attention, but. Yeah, they have their similarities.
I don't know, I suppose acting is a little more a positive way of getting attention, but, yeah, they have their similarities.
Yeah.
Um, it was really nice to be able to act alongside or work with other women that are actually living the life that I'm trying to portray. It was really eye-opening. I don't know. It was just so available having actual dancers there alongside me, like working towards the same thing and being able to talk to them. And I don't know. It really opened up kind of a new world for me. Like something that I had absolutely no idea about was all of a sudden like I was like immersed in it. I don't know, it was interesting and I learned a lot, so I really enjoyed working with the other cast members.
Actually, dancing in the club is more emotionally draining than this would ever be physically draining. You know, you have to wear that perma smile all night long and make everyone think that you're in this fantastic mood, and you have to truly make people believe that you care about every single thing that they're saying just to try to make a couple bucks off of them. You know, as opposed to this, I mean, I would take being physically drained over emotionally drained any day. So
It was challenging. There were a lot of times where I was really physically exhausted and physically hurting, but it was also just, it was a more emotionally and mentally challenging role than I think I've ever done before, and especially in film, it's like you really can't help but be completely connected to what you're doing, because the more real it is, the better it plays, and so it was kind of tough on me, but I'm grateful for that. I'm glad that it took a little bit out of me, I guess, because then I think it achieved what it probably meant to achieve.
made me realize how strong I am. It takes a lot out of somebody to be able to do something, like what I do. It has its positive, benefits, and then there's there's negativity behind it as well. It seems easy. It seems like a lot of fun, but in reality, it can be very, very emotionally and mentally detrimental to somebody, especially the first few months, because you go through that point where you're just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Like, this isn't me. Like, I don't even, you feel like you lose touch with yourself. But for me, and I can't speak for everyone, over time, I've realized that feeling like I've lost myself has helped me gain a new sense of who I really am, if that makes any sense.
The expanse of my sexual knowledge is only so big, and then there's so much more that goes on, and there's so many other, I don't know, just like the way that men and women interact is so, it can go up to levels that I would never even want to explore, I guess, and what women are willing to give to men. It was the monologue really that sort of fucked me, because every time I thought about it and I tried to relate it to what I was doing, it was like okay, so I guess on its base level it made me think about how men and women interact and what sort of constructs we have and what makes us this or that, and it's just being in a different world.
The lowest point I ever got to was this is going to sound really strange, but I feel like the lowest I ever felt was a night that I had so much money in my hand that when people would continue to try to ask me for dances and give me more money, I didn't even know what to do. I would just say no, and I walked back to the dressing room and I punched a couple lockers and sat in the corner and cried, because I was just it was because of money.